Welcome to Punks for Progress Weekly What the Fuck Report. I'm Punker Mike. It's my partner Aaron. Reverend Aaron. What's up, Reverend Aaron?
Well, it's more like a Punks for Progress monthly What the Fuck Report.
I was sick last week, and you've been busy doing some organizing.
Well, and so have you. But yeah, you know. So, sorry to our listeners who actually do like our What the Fuck reports, and it's been a while since we put one up. So,
yeah, man, huh? Like what? What
we
the fuck?
We don't get paid to do this fucking janky bullshit. But anyway,
yeah, let's see. Last time we talked, Bannon was still in the White House.
Yeah, but we'll get into that. So hold on a second.
Okay.
We will do a sort of kind of rapid fire, get you caught up on some things. But before we do that, let's talk about. There's a group that we were at Redlands. You were at one of your Redlands Progressive Change meetings and spoke to someone that's involved with something really cool that Punks for Progress has agreed to endorse. So, why don't you go ahead and talk about that?
This young lady came, Lachey Rodriguez from Environment California, and she is. They're writing a letter to the delegates here in California, all the representatives and the Senate, the senators we have here, and we're trying to get California removed from the list of states and other areas that they want to increase offshore drilling. So basically, they want to increase offshore drilling here in California. We don't want that to happen. We want them to take California completely off the list. They're writing a letter. Punks for Progress agrees with them, and so we are endorsing their letter to our state's representatives in order to get California removed from this increase in offshore drilling. So, excellent. Right, she was, basically broke it down for us. I conversed with her today via email, and she has agreed to come on our show.
Oh, excellent. Tell us all in more detail what this whole thing is and the implications of it and all that kind of stuff.
Absolutely. The implications are they're going to fuck up our coast, and I won't be able to surf. So,
yeah,
it's personal. Anyway, yeah. So that's going on.
Just off the top of your head, Mike, you had some more developments going with you've been kind of doing what you can to get involved with a Food Not Bombs chapter, or even starting a Food Not Bombs chapter. And you mentioned some developments with that that's not something you've let go. We talked about it a while ago, and so
absolutely not. I've actually I haven't heard from anybody that that had approached me about it. So I went ahead and took the bull by the horns, and I tried to find out if there was first I tried to find out who this person was. So I sent a message to the organizer of Food Not Bombs on Facebook. Now he hasn't gotten back to me, and it's understandable. But so I was trying to find out more about if there's Anyways, I went on the Food Not Bombs webpage and found all the chapters in California, and in Redlands it looks like there's an address of some guy, and it looks like he's in North Redlands, kind of close to me. So I have a new friend from Portland who is I met through Redlands for Progressive Change, and she has agreed to help me. She wants to do the same thing, and I'm like, look, I've been kind of busy right now doing this other stuff. So I gave her all the information I had. We got together at market night last Thursday night and talked. And I think the next step is I'm going to try to drive by this guy's house because there's no phone number or anything. It's just an address.
Sure.
So I may just end up driving by this guy's house, knocking on his door and saying, okay, talk to me. What's up with Food Not Bombs? Is there something going on here? Because if there is, we want to be involved. And if not, then we want to take the bull by the horns and run with it. So
right, and you don't want to step on anyone's toes if they're already doing something, right? You don't want to be like, we're Food Not Bombs now.
No,
try to find the guy.
If it's there, then hey, we're here to help. We want to help. Right. We have resources and capabilities and people.
And who knows, Michael, with the nature of things like Food Not Bombs, maybe this person was truly devoted, really busted ass for it for a long time. Maybe they just didn't get any help and have moved on, and maybe they can't do it anymore. Who knows, so they may be just waiting for someone to go like, fuck yeah, I need help. I've been serving up one pot of food every week by myself for 6. Who knows? You know what I mean? So yeah, it's good to try and find the guy.
Exactly.
But if he's not there, then screw it. You did your due diligence. You made sure not to step on any toes, and then you can just start doing Food Not Bombs. But hopefully there's someone already there, and you can just work with them. But
anyway, so yeah, that's where I'm at. That's where I am with that.
Cool.
Yeah.
So,
I've also, I don't know if I've talked to you about this. I've got I got an email from an old high school friend of mine who has a friend who's in a punk rock band, and apparently this friend of hers was their daughter's high school English teacher, but she's in a punk rock band she's supposed to hook me up with. So that's something that is I've got kind of going in the works. And also our dear friend Miss Tracy knows the girlfriend of the bass player for GBH and is also trying to get me an interview, but we'll see what happens.
That'd be fantastic. They're just about to put out there was a new album out, or it's coming out.
They're touring pretty heavy. I mean, they were at
Tools.
Yeah,
a brand new
weren't they at Punk Rock Bowling? And I think they were even at the last show that I went to. What was that? It's Not Dead.
GBH wasn't at Punk Rock Bowling.
They weren't.
Oh, we would have filmed the shit out of GBH.
God, there were so many bands, it's hard to tell.
Discharge. You might be...
Discharge, the other hardcore punk rock band.
Right.
Anyway.
And then we got a bunch of other cool hardcore punk rock videos that we put up recently that we'll tell you all about towards the end of the show. But so we should probably get into it. Look, just so we're going to do a rapid fire thing of just kind of some stuff that's get you caught up because it has been a month. But then we're going to get into some like tax reform, debt ceiling. Definitely going to be talking a lot about DACA, and of course Harvey and Irma, and then
Jose.
And what's coming up, and Jose, of course, on the Tales of Irma. And then, and we're going to give you a good report back with a lot of good video and stuff from the Bay Area Rally Against Hate just a couple weeks back, because I was at both the San Francisco thing for the Patriot Prayer, and which was just a phenomenal turnout from the city, and completely shut that down. And then on Sunday, I was in Berkeley back at MLK Park. So I'm going to give you a rundown of all that, and I've got a bunch of video from that. So, yeah, and so we could probably get into it, Mike. So let's do this, what I'm calling rapid fire. But I mean, there's a bunch of shit that's happened since we've been on.
Like I said, Bannon was in the White House before. Now he's out. He's back talking smack on Breitbart.
Which I think was all strategic. We go, well, if we're going to talk about Bannon, let's talk about Bannon, because I think it was strategic. I don't think he's out by any means. I think he's going to be much more effective for fascism back at the helm of Breitbart. And he can play this, he's
definitely
still pushing. I mean, I don't know if anybody saw Bannon's interview on Charlie Rose this week, but wow.
I did not watch that, but I saw clips and I was just like,
oh my
what?
gosh, that is so telling you. I just suggest anybody sit down and take the time to watch, Charlie Rose, a more than one-time attendee of the Bilderberg conference, talking with Steve Bannon. I mean, it's really the elite of the elite talking. I mean, it's they get real honest on this.
Charlie Rose is a kook, bro.
I've watched Charlie. Man. I don't know. I've watched Charlie Rose for years. I wouldn't call him a kook. What I would call Charlie Rose is. Let me finish, please. I would call Charlie Rose incredibly connected, and he's well versed in what the elite does in its private circles. I just don't think he's a kook. I mean, he's
think he's losing it a little bit.
No, I haven't seen any signs of that, and I haven't watched him as closely in the last maybe year or two as I used to. I check in with him when he sits down with people like Steve Bannon, or like when he sits down with people like Henry Kissinger and stuff. And his stuff that interview from start to finish is super telling. And I'm not trying to like defend Charlie Rose necessarily. I mean, but like he's not my hero or my buddy. I don't think he's a great guy or anything, but he gets the fucking meaty interviews, man. And his interview with Steve Bannon is intense, and it just shows that that Steve Bannon still has a hell of a lot of power. So
I don't know, something about him creeps me out.
About what? Who, Charlie or Steve Bannon?
Well, both of them, but definitely
Steve Bannon is terrifying. Yeah, Charlie Rose is creepy motherfucker, man.
Yeah, he's creepy. Bannon's terrifying. Charlie Rose is creepy. Anyway,
I think the reason Charlie Rose is creepy is because he knows what the fuck is going on, and he's pretending like he doesn't. Because he has such access to the core elite circles Yeah. Well,
It
anyway,
may
so
have
we can move
something
on.
to do with the way that the girls flirt with him in the morning on that morning show. That's extremely creepy.
Well, I watched it for years on PBS, long before he got on that morning show, and his dark interviews in that dark room with his big round table. I mean, he just gets everybody.
See, I never saw those.
Oh, I watched them for years. Anyway, so what else? We got to talk about the pardoning of Sheriff Joe Arpaio.
Oh, racist Sheriff Joe.
I mean, that was just one of the most
he
massive moves towards fascism this country's ever taken.
Oh my God! I mean, and come on, the whole thing hadn't even played out yet. He was found in contempt of court. It wasn't like he was in jail serving his term. He was in contempt of court. You want to talk about law and order? Fucking Trump's out there, preaching law and order. That was the exact opposite of law and order.
Right. It was a complete disregard for any sense of law and order. But you got to keep in mind when Trump the words law and order, all he's doing is he's parroting the Nixonian version of law and order, which is, please don't whistle at your dog.
I'm sorry, no, it's a dog whistle. It's a dog whistle. It's what it is. Law and order. It's a fucking dog whistle.
Right. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't get the joke. I was slow.
Sorry.
But no, that's exactly what it is. It's the dog whistle towards it's fascism. That's what law and order means in the Nixonian terms. This is a complete hammering down.
And, the talk is that it's to show that because Mueller apparently is getting close. Some of the articles I've seen recently have been saying that Mueller's locking down hard on this stuff, and basically that was to send a message to anybody that
just in case anybody doesn't know, Mueller's the dude that's investigating the possible ties to Russia, whatever. It's the FBI's criminal investigation.
Right. And so if any of Trump's guys, stay loyal to him, if they get indicted, Trump will just pardon them. Basically saying, you stay loyal to me and I'll pardon your ass. So that's kind of the gist of I think what the left's talking point on that.
It's fascism. What is the left's talking point on it?
Well, that was the reason it was done.
Oh, I gotcha. But to send that message that don't sweat it. Don't sweat
it. Stay loyal to me, and I'll just pardon you if you get indicted.
Oh.
So, it was pure on fascism.
And then what else? There was
come on, dude. He's checked every fucking box of fascists.
He has
every single one.
He has. And I would refer people to this guy Mark Bray recently published a book called Antifa, the Anti-Fascist Handbook.
Yeah.
A lot of it. And he was on Democracy Now.
Tom Hartman's had him on a couple times, dude.
And then Sam Cedars had him on. So he's making the circuit on this book. And, my first reaction was to be skeptical because it's kind of
course.
He's a academic, and he has proper credentials and all that stuff. And generally, those kind of people don't tend to know a whole lot about Antifa. But this guy he organized with Occupy, and he knows his shit. And he's had I haven't finished the book yet. I've only kind of thumbed through it. But one of the things that really stood out in one of his interviews for me that I've been just repeating incessantly almost is that. This concept of it's fascism, and everyone can accept that Hitler and fascism and Mussolini is really terrifying. But at what point is the general public going to wake up and realize, at what level of fascism do you actually do something and give a shit? When it's full on, Hitler's in power and he's burnt the Reichstag and is rounding up Jews. Is that when you decide? Because really, all those things already happened. I mean, he didn't burn down the Reich. Trump hasn't burned down the Reichstag or burned Congress or whatever, but he's rounding up all the immigrants. And he's rounding up all the brown people, and he's, we're going to get into the DACA stuff later. And at what point do you stand up and so right, and just all the things are there, and each day we get one step closer to not being able to stop it, and
what was the other?
And then we got this missile test with North Korea going on as well. I mean, and so not only do we have this massive agenda going on at home. We talk about this all the time, as far as implementing the fascist agenda. But meanwhile, he's just wreaking havoc internationally. And
Aaron, isn't part of the fascist agenda starting a war?
Well, right, because that's how you keep the military-industrial complex going, and it's all about, fascism is all about, being strong and being assertive and, going out and then conquering, and then when you're done and you have the whole world and you've controlled everything, well, then you wipe out all the other people who don't look like the ruling group, I get really tired of. I think that one of the things that the right wing, and this might sound like a little bit of a side tangent, but it's not, is that the right is always giving us shit on the left because we keep calling everyone on the right Nazis and racists, and not all of these fascists are Nazis and racists. Some of them aren't. They hate Nazi parties. They don't hate Jews at all. A lot of them aren't racist at all. Like these Patriot Prayer people. I don't get from them that they're racist, but they're fascist. And they are about everyone has to believe this one thing, and we're all going to have, everything has to be broke down to its simplest terms, and then if you don't like it, too fucking bad, and then, yes, the military is how you do it. Military backed by prisons for people at home and a strong military presence, out in the international relations. That's fascism. I mean, that was a long-winded way around it, but yeah, of course, an incredibly strong, out there fucking wrecking shit military is a core part of what fascism does. But that's when it's in full effect. That's when fascism is really, really taking its hold. It's 100%, which is so goddamn close to being that. And then we can't stop him from fucking pissing off North Korea, which we're not doing a fucking good job of stopping him now, by the way. Talk about it. What are these missile tests and shit? They shot missiles over Japan. They shot them over Japan, man. Look, that means they can nuke Japan.
Yeah, they have warheads. They have nuclear warheads they can put on missiles. Yes, they can nuke Japan. They can nuke South Korea. South Korea is even closer. The guy is afraid. He's fucking, bottom line, he's afraid that the big old United States of America with, this big-ass mean motherfucker now as a president is going to come in and do whatever the hell he wants.
Mean guy, yeah.
And just...
And can you blame... I'm not going to start, hugging and kissing on Kim Jong-un, but can you blame him for being afraid?
Well, no, because they want to... He's in charge of his country. He's the CEO. He's the dictator of that country. And if the United States government doesn't like it, they're a hell of a lot bigger than that little teeny piece of peninsula there. So the problem is all these poor innocent people in South Korea that are going to get nuked in the way. In the meantime, it's a no-win situation, and it's interesting because Tillerson said the same fucking thing. Rex Tillerson said the same. Yeah. CEO, Exxon CEO, right? There's no military. Military is not an option. It's a war over there is not an option. Yeah, so he'll find some place to start a war. He's already sending a shitload ton of weapons to Saudi Arabia so they can keep bombing Yemen. And I believe they just signed another arms deal with somebody. He just had some cat over in the White House this week or last week. And he said he was going to sell him a whole bunch of fucking weapons too. So, oh yeah, they're wrapping it up, man.
So, yeah, let's talk about what they're wrapping up at home then. We have a tax reform next on the list. Yeah.
No, that's the next on Trump's list. Yeah. Well, and here's the deal. This kind of goes hand in hand with something else on the list there, and that's the debt ceiling. Okay, right. So they had to raise the debt ceiling again. Now, if you remember, this happened not too long ago under Obama, and Republicans a shit fit. They were not going to do it.
Right. Yeah, they shut down the government.
Right. The Republicans shut down. Yeah, exactly. So instead of doing that, Trump went in and he negotiated with the damn Democrats, and the Democrats got signed on. So he was able to push this through, so they raised the debt ceiling.
Because let's talk about debt ceiling, even though we have to do this for people every fucking time this debt ceiling thing comes around, is you can't negotiate the debt ceiling. Okay? Either you have to get rid of capitalism, or you're going to have to make concessions for the debt ceiling. It's an inevitable outgrowth of capitalism. And the whole time that Republicans didn't want to let the Democrats raise the debt ceiling was the Republicans taking advantage and exploiting the fact that most people don't understand what the debt ceiling is. And they sent our whole entire fucking country into peril, into near peril, to make Democrats look bad. So that, it was a total manipulative mind control bullshit thing. You have to raise the debt ceiling. Otherwise, we default. And then we can't ever, borrow money as a country, and then we can't function economically in international terms.
We did default last time when they shut it down. They degraded our credit rating.
We didn't default, but we did get derated. We've had AAA ratings forever, and again, we can get into whether the ratings groups are valid or not, because I'm drawing a blank on the names, but there's two different ratings groups, and they all had AAA ratings for all of these banks that went belly up in 2008 and stuff. So it's questionable whether you should trust them. But America always had AAA ratings, and then because we threatened to shut down the government over the debt ceiling, our rating went down, even before it had gotten to that point. So, and that's just a very, very sort of cursory, surface level type of impact that this can have. But you have to do it. Either you have to fix the entire cornerstone foundation of what our economy is built on, or you have to accept that you have to raise the debt ceiling regularly. And so it's, you always hear fucking idiot pundits talking about, well, don't play politics, or politicians will get on and you say something, well, don't play politics. Well, that's what this whole debt ceiling thing is. It's playing politics. And so...
yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Yeah. And it's about keeping people divided, and then idiots who don't know anything. And I don't claim to be a fucking expert on how the debt ceiling functions and how you get there. And I know that my explanation of it doesn't even come remotely close to giving people the nuance they need to understand how we arrive at needing to raise a debt ceiling, okay, or even having a debt ceiling. But it comes from an economy that's based on credit, which ours is fundamentally built on that from its core, from the moment money is printed. Actually, from before money is printed, it's attached to debt, which it creates a bubble. And there's so many other facets of our economic structure and our banking system that facilitates that bubble, which creates a numerous different bubbles, one of them being the debt ceiling. And so... But they are talking about tax reform. That's the big thing.
They think that's the next thing that's coming up. Well, because he's been talking about tax reform, and of course, what that means is trickle-down economics. Tax cuts for the rich, trickle down to the poor. That doesn't happen. Rich get richer, poor get poorer. The elimination of the middle class.
Well, they always talk about, they want, you hear things like, I think it was Paul Ryan, or I don't remember, or no, actually I think it was Ted Cruz was talking about he wants to simplify the tax code to one page and that kind of stuff, right? And you just can't do that. Because if you do that, it would be really easy. Actually, you can. That's possible. And what it would ultimately do is, in that one page, there would be enough wording to make sure that corporations get everything. And people are fucked and have to pay corporations everything. You could do that. You could solidify that in one page, I think.
Yeah. Oh, wait, and Trump came out and said that the United States is the highest taxed country in the world.
That's got to be.
Which it is, it's totally fucking wrong. We're the fourth lowest.
Right.
At 15% or something stupid like that. Oh, no, it's 25%. I think he wants to lower it to 15%. It's ridiculous. I mean, come on, man. It doesn't take a fucking rocket scientist to see that it didn't work in the 80s. It fucked us all up into 2008 when the shit hit the fan, and all it's going to do is fuck us again.
Well, that's the thing.
It's going to happen sooner.
Let me fucking trigger for a second, okay? Because that's the thing with these fucking Trump supporters, man. They think that they have abandoned the Republican Party. They're like, the Republican Party, all their shit is bullshit. They're bunch of sellout motherfuckers, and we're done with the Republican Party. That's why we chose the outside fucking candidate, Donald Trump, who is pushing the exact fucking agenda that you're supposedly rebelling against, you fucking morons. It's like you separated your... Hold on, let me finish. They separated themselves from the Republican Party, okay? But Donald Trump is selling you the exact same fucking agenda that you are now seeing manifest in your plant being shut down. You know, trickle down economics, okay? Neoliberalism, supply side fucking economics, Ayn Rand. That's what Trump is pushing. It's what the Republican Party has been pushing since fucking Nixon. Nothing is different. And what Trump is saying is nothing different from fucking any of it. And you people think that you have separated yourself from the fucking Republican Party establishment. You are such tool bags.
Well, come on, to drain the swamp? No, he fucking filled it. He
Totally
bitched and complained
filled
about Hill getting money from Goldman Sachs, yet he puts fucking, half a dozen Goldman Sachs alumni in his cabinet? It's not draining the swamp. That's filling it full of the fucking same people that fucked you back in 2008. It's not the brown people that took your jobs. It's the rich white people, you stupid fuckheads.
And then what Steve Bannon is going to do now is his job is going to be facilitating the lie that there is a difference between the Republican Party establishment and Donald Trump. So there's the Republican Party establishment and Jared Kushner and the globalists, and then there's Donald Trump fighting against him. And Bannon is going to keep that lie alive. Because that's what they're pushing. That, you know, the problem that's going on, and the reason Steve Bannon had to be out is because the globalists in the Jared Kushner wing of the Trump administration have pushed out the real patriots, like fucking Bannon and then eventually DACA and these kind of fucking people. But they haven't pushed anybody out. And, you know, and it's the same. There is no division between these two groups, between the elite fucking Republicans of Turtlehead and frickin', you know, and Eddie Munster and all. You know, they are the same thing, and it's a lie that there's a division. And it's the same thing like when you know, Donald Trump was all mad at Jeff Sessions, like there's a war against Jeff Sessions. Give me a fucking break. Let me tell you something, Trump supporters. Jeff Sessions has a hell of a lot more power than Donald Trump has. Jeff Sessions is an old school fucking racist Klan motherfucker, and he's connected to a lot of really old money. But they create these lies that there's a fight going on. Because then it keeps the freaking internet trolls happy. They keep them chugging along, supporting Donald Trump and anything that he does. They think he's against these people in the Republican Party establishment. It's fucking fascinating.
I told you, Sessions is doing all of Trump's dirty work. He's not going anywhere.
Not going anywhere, man. Jeff Sessions, man, the Klan is the man running that house, dude. And just, yeah, so. What do we have next? Well, I mean, fucking DACA.
DACA. Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals.
I mean, you want to talk about rounding up the Jews? You know, well, first of all,
let's talk
about what it takes to become DACA. Let's do that.
Okay, let's talk about what it takes to become DACA. First of all, you have to come here with your if you came here undocumented with your parents before the age of 16. So basically, and I think the average age of a DACA recipient was 6 years old. Okay. At the time of arrival, yeah. So they've been here in this country from the age of 6 years old. These people know no other country but this country as their own. This is their country. So here's the deal. They can enter in, they're undocumented. They're not citizens because their parents are undocumented. Okay? So they can enter into this program. And what it does is if they go to school or have a job, okay, they can stay in this country with a kind of a thing of a green card thing or whatever it is. They have to go back every 2 years and re-enroll or be interviewed, kind of a thing, right? And it costs $500 each time they go back and get this every 2 years. So, and the other thing is, to be eligible, they cannot have a criminal record at all. So they basically have come here before they were 16 years old, undocumented, have no criminal records from the time that they've been here, and they have to either be working or going to school. And I think there was something
or military.
like 80,
military.
Right, and I think it's something like 90%, 85 to 90% of them work. That there's only
yeah, it's super high. It's super high positive numbers,
right.
And then like the amount of people who have become DACA recipients that have committed crimes since becoming official DACA, official dreamers, it's less than 1%. It's like a fraction of 1% of them. And actually, I could be wrong. It might be 2%. I think that's right. I think it's about 2%.
Yeah, but here's the other thing.
Of DACA recipients, let me just finish.
Right.
DACA recipients have committed crimes.
Right.
And the right wing is totally focusing on that 2%. But that leaves 98% that have not committed crimes since becoming actual DACA recipients. 98% have not committed any type of crime. Okay? So that's a higher percentage than even just American population per capita in general.
So are you telling me that there's
far more than
2% of people who have enrolled in DACA that says you can't have a criminal record have now some sort of criminal record?
Right.
Well, then that makes them ineligible for DACA. So when they went back 2 years later and they found they had a criminal record, that made them ineligible.
Well, there you go.
So...
And because they are doing
that's what you're telling me. No, I'm trying to clarify. That's what you're telling me?
Yeah, that's
and that's what the right wing is focusing on?
That's what I've seen, is them talking about, see, they're criminals and blah, blah, blah. They're going to find the one guy that was a DACA recipient. And
he probably got drunk driving because he was coming home from school or something stupid, right?
And I don't want to, let's not paint this the wrong way. It's not like that 2% are all fucking felons. Like,
it's a
misdemeanor charge, a gross misdemeanor charge. Who knows what it is?
It could be anything. Come on, you know how that is.
Actually, I think that's what it is. And again, I could be wrong on it, but I think where I came up with that fraction of 1%, I think it's that fraction of 1% of that 2%. Okay, that fraction of 1% of DACA recipients have probably committed some kind of felon since being awarded this DACA. You know what I'm saying? So but ultimately, the rest of them, on the converse, on the flip side of all that, they're all like super consistently employed people. They're getting they're excelling in education. It's like 60-something% of them, I think, are college graduates.
And you understand, there's no path to citizenship for these people.
Right.
They still, the only country they've ever known, there is no path to citizenship. On top of that, on top of that, they have to pay payroll taxes. Do you know they can't collect Social Security? Right. They don't get to collect Social Security. They don't get to fucking vote.
Right. So they're working in good
and not only and paying paying payroll taxes
and paying taxes on it
and paying sales taxes on shit they got to buy to live because they have a job.
DACA recipients, they are, without question, we just want to break it down in real terms. They are the best and the fucking brightest. That's what DACA recipients are. They're the best and the brightest. They are the greatest hope.
Then what's the purpose? Where's the motivation? Where's the money, Lebowski? Because how much money is this saving? It's not creating jobs. Is it saving money? It's actually not saving money, because I read an article that I don't know what libertarian think tank it was, like the Heritage Foundation or something, studied this and said that they're going to lose $200 billion or $2 billion a year or something. At $2 billion, I think is what it was.
Yeah, you send these dreamers. Okay, you take them out of the workforce, which is going to be thousands of them. So that's going to have a direct impact on the economy. They're not going to be paying taxes anymore. So it's not even that they're just, they're not going to be spending their paychecks anymore in our economy.
They're not paying payroll taxes. They're not paying income taxes.
Payroll taxes, right?
Right.
You know what? There's thousands of them in the military. So, that are deployed and shit. DACA recipients fighting for America.
The country, the only country they've ever known.
Right. And so what? You're gonna pull all them out of the military with all the transgender people. I'll tell you. Let me get to it. And then not only that, so it's gonna weaken our military, and it's gonna have a direct negative effect on our economy. But what it does is they're the Jews. They are the Jews of 2017. They're the fascism 2017's Jews. That's what
Mexicans.
they are. They're brown. And that's the thing too, is like they're not all Mexicans and South American people. DACA recipients, they're children of immigrants.
Right.
They're all kinds of different nationalities from all regions of the world.
You're right.
But
Aaron,
it doesn't matter.
You're right.
People who hate them think they're all brown Mexican people, and
I've seen
so
some Asians.
It's about scapegoating. They are the perfect fucking scapegoat. And
So it's
and the
racism.
correlation,
It's pure on racism.
It's pure. But it's pure on fascism. It's not that the people doing this, that the Trump administration doing this hates them, is doing it to them because their ethnicity, or even that they're from another country. It just does a great job of becoming the others, of becoming the enemy group that we hate, that we have to rally against, that gets all his supporters and all these freaking far-right idiots all rallied up against and pissed off. It's the them. It's the others. It's the enemy. It's the, And so it serves all of that purpose.
Selling
fear, keeping the people divided, so that they
can
and say, look, we need more money. We need more money for the military-industrial complex. We need more money for ICE.
That happened today, dude. That happened today. There was a court that overturned the restrictions on his fucking Muslim ban.
That's right. That's right. All of it has to end, bro. And
I can't see him.
We're going to get into
continue to look at him as president.
And impeachment isn't going to do it, because first and foremost, you're not going to Paul Ryan and I can't think of any of these. What's Turtle's fucking name? Why can't I think of Turtle's name? McConnell. All these people, they're not going to vote for impeachment. They're not going to you're not going to hire a special prosecutor. The Republican Party is not going to hire a special prosecutor to bring impeachment hearings against the president. It's not going to happen. And even if it does, fuck that. I don't want Mike Pence to be president. I still maintain, for me, we've talked about this and debated it a lot on our show, and I still feel like Pence would be worse. And I'm more afraid of Pence than I am of Trump.
You've convinced me.
And so,
he's
like,
more competent.
Yeah. And he actually believes the shit. Trump's just stumbling through things, doing whatever the last military-industrial complex guy in the room told him to do, based on the fucking weird manipulation that Steve Bannon has put on Trump. And that's another thing, too, that whole thing with DACA, and when you were saying why, it serves that whole fucking deconstruction dystopian worldview that Steve Bannon has. It's going to create chaos and a need for frickin' like military intervention, because this stuff is really pissing the country off. And check it out.
Oh yeah,
the country's getting ready to stay in the street starting on November 4th, and we're going to get back into that. And I'm involved in working with people to see that this happens, man. Because the whole fucking thing has to go. Because let's start talking about fucking Harvey, Irma, and Jose, is that right? Is that what they're calling the one behind Irma?
Jose Jalapeno.
Let's talk about these three frickin' once in 500 year storms that happened this week or this month.
Well, let's see.
Meanwhile,
we have
Los Angeles is burning, right?
Right. While Los Angeles is burning.
Right. The roundabouts are bending in the haze while we talk, right?
Palm trees are candles in the murder wind.
And
seriously, bro. No, it was seriously on fire. Yeah, it was hardcore.
No, I think I heard that it's the largest fire in LA history. Is that right, Mike? Have you heard that too?
I think so. In LA County history, I think it was. Yeah, but there was also fires up in Oregon, I think. And Montana's on fire?
Haiti had a massive earthquake, right?
Mexico had a massive earthquake. It was Mexico. Mexico shook Mexico City. And let's see. We had, what was the first one? Henry? Hector?
Harvey, which I mean is still
Harvey took out Houston.
Let's
Texas, where Ted Cruz is.
Let's stay on Harvey for a second. Let's talk about Harvey and what's been going on, looting and alt-right presence there and Antifa presence there, and it is just Katrina all over again.
Worse.
Nothing worse. And in the sense that the response to it is just disgusting. The one thing that was learned from Katrina was that when Harvey happened, people knew the government is not going to help us. Get ready, citizen groups. Get ready, our neighbors and friends, and because the people of Texas are going to need the people. And I just think that the response from grassroots organizing groups like Black Lives Matter and even Antifa and a lot of other groups has been phenomenal. Because they knew. They knew what happened with Katrina, and they knew that we have to do it ourselves. So, I mean, it doesn't... So it's better than Katrina, but, when you see posts, Mike, about, like, cops are focused on arresting looters while people are standing on their tops of their homes waiting to be rescued. Like, what the fuck? Let them have their fucking
give them food and diapers,
TVs and their blenders or whatever the fuck it is they're stealing. Just fucking let them have it. And get
water.
The people off their goddamn.
No, let's just overcharge for water.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's price gouge water. How's that?
Capitalism. You have capital.
Let's send cops out to protect the fucking Walmart while people are fucking standing on the tops of their fucking houses with no food, no water, no electricity, no nothing. Dying. But let's go protect Walmart. That's what the cops are for. The cops are not there to protect us as people. They're there to protect the interests of multinational corporations. It's their fucking job. And then these alt-right motherfucking assholes going down there with their weapons to stop looters. The same fucking people who want to talk about Antifa as a terrorist group. Well, guess what? I've seen plenty of fucking Antifa people sitting in rooms, gathering up and packaging up fucking medical supplies and food and water and fucking getting and putting in the mechanisms in place to get it properly actually distributed to people in Houston. Well, alt-right fucking oath-keeper fuckstains are walking around with their rifles looking for looters. Way to go, dipshits. You protected a corporation. Fuck you. Fuck you, man. You disgusting fascist morons. And meanwhile, the fucking crusade to get Antifa labeled a fucking terrorist group is working. While terrorists walk around fucking Houston with rifles, threatening to shoot people for stealing a TV.
It's Texas, though, bro. They all walk around with rifles.
Yeah. Yeah. Well.
Did you hear about Ted Cruz today?
No.
He got busted for looking at porn on Twitter. I guess. I don't either. Like, he doesn't, I mean, they don't know if it was him or a staffer or what, but Ted Cruz's Twitter account was checking out porn at midnight last night. So we're just saying. But no, it's interesting to me how, freaking Ted Cruz didn't want to kick down money for Katrina. But when all of a sudden his state gets hit, he wants federal government money. Oh no, we want money. Oh yeah, that now socialism's okay. And now look now and now what's right on its tails? Irma? Edna? Inga? Irma.
And I just want to real quickly before we move on to Irma, we can't ignore Trump's visits to Texas. And him talking about how great the fucking crowds were, and how wonderful this is.
Did you see him?
You're doing great.
Did you see him trying to load the truck? That man has never done a fucking day work in his life.
You know what that was, Mike? Literally the hardest day of his entire life.
He did more work that day than he's ever done in his entire life. More physical work.
Yeah, as a whole.
He doesn't work that hard playing golf.
No, he doesn't. I mean, he got a photo op out of the misery
Yeah, but they all do that shit. Come on, man. It's all a photo
Trump,
op.
even Bush
Obama did
didn't
it.
get the
Bush
photo
did
op.
it.
Of course.
Melania at least had her high heels on, dude. Come on. At least she looked classy.
But I mean, but you got to look at everything Trump has said, the numerous things that he's said about climate change denial, and the way he contributes to fucking directly ending the the Paris Peace Accords or climate accords.
Well, do you want to talk about climate change? Did you see the article I put on our Facebook page today? It was
and how the mainstream media isn't even fucking talking about climate change. It's just they want to talk about looters, and they want to talk about devastation and disaster and dying people, and
Well, under siege, a town under siege.
Right.
But
how
nothing
did
about
this
climate
happen?
change. Nothing about more a warmer air holding more humidity. Nothing about warmer ocean temperatures making these storms stronger. I mean, this storm, Irma, was so big it covered the entire state of Florida. And it's interesting.
Harvey and Irma were once in 500-year storms.
Irma was the biggest one in the Atlantic Basin, I think, that came out of the Atlantic.
That's the biggest storm on record over the Atlantic Ocean.
Right. Yeah, and it's and it fucking wiped out Florida. I was really hoping it'd hit Mar-a-Lago straight on. I really was.
Yeah, but it curved around.
Did you see some of the islands? And check this shit out. There's so much stupid shit going on. It barely touched Puerto Rico, our sister colonized nation there, right?
Yes, territory.
Fucking territory we took over, basically.
Yeah.
Did you see the article on Democracy Now! About this shit? They have no power over there.
For like 6 months.
Yeah, and apparently Puerto Rico, it's a government-owned power structure. They're the ones that own the power company, like PG&E, some shit like that, right?
Yeah.
It's also 95% fossil fuel. They've deregulated it. In 2010, they had 7,000 linemen to go and work the lines and take care of the infrastructure. Today, they have 3,500. They have half as many people. So they've deregulated, and now they're trying to privatize and take it over. But this country that barely got hit, and it's not devastated like, not Barbados, but I can't think of that. Barbados or something. Just uninhabitable.
And there's numerous islands, and that's another thing. I thank you for bringing that up, because I was talking to someone yesterday about it, and they're like, "Yeah, well, but it's hit a bunch of those islands and stuff, but it looks like Florida, is probably going to survive it." I'm like, "Yeah, it's not that. It hit those islands. There's human beings on those fucking islands. They're not just blips and little teeny pictures on your goddamn map. Those are inhabited, where there's communities and infrastructure that has been annihilated on all these islands that you and I, Mike, we can't remember the names of. Okay?
I know, right? What is the one I saw today, dude? All the yachts
don't exist. And it's like Irma isn't Irma until it hits Florida.
No, it wiped out, and I can't remember the name of this poor little country, and it almost sounds like Barbados, something like that. But it basically wiped out that island altogether. It's uninhabitable. And then there were some other ones. There was one I was watching today on Vice News. It was like the whole dock. It showed the dock like in before. It was all full of these nice rich yachts, and where the rich came to play. And then it showed it after, and all these yachts were just stacked up on top of each other, just like blown like pencils in the wind, right? But the problem is that island's main source of income is tourism. So these people got to get their shit back together, because if they don't, they have no economy. Their economy's based in tourism. So.
And where's this money going to come from? Harvey and Irma, Florida and Texas, they're not going to get the amount of money that those places need to recover from this. It's not going to happen. They'll get
What about
funded.
private industry,
it's not going to be anywhere near enough. And so these islands they're fucked. They're not going to get money from fucking anybody.
Haiti's still fucked after the earthquake, or after the tsunami a few years ago.
Well, that's because they accepted voodoo. And fucking Pat Robertson knew it then, and he knows it now. If they hadn't accepted voodoo, none of this shit would have happened to him. Fucking Haitian voodoo people.
Then explain to me of Florida. Then how come Florida's getting wiped out?
Probably because of Haitian voodoo. Yeah. Yeah.
What about Christian voodoo?
Doesn't exist. Because Christianity is right.
What about opiates?
The devil. Unless it's prescribed, and then you need to take it a lot, like every day, if it's prescribed, because that makes somebody money, and Jesus likes that.
Trickle down green God particle.
What up to a bear? So
now, right on the heels of Irma. See, now Houston's still trying to rebuild. Everybody's got drywall and furniture out in their driveways and in their front lawns. And I saw the other day the trash guys going and picking all this stuff up. Man, it's just everything 4 feet down is gone.
Let me say real quick. New Orleans still hasn't fully recovered from Katrina.
No, absolutely true. Good point.
So I just wanted to put that.
And Louisiana got a little bit of Harvey there too.
Yeah.
So, and now we have Jose. I'm not sure what's up with Jose, but Jose's a Category 5, I think, at this point.
Right, and because it's a little smaller than Irma, it's like, it's like,
It's only going to wipe out a couple of Caribbean islands.
It's just a really devastating storm. It's not a really devastating storm.
Until it hits the warm water in the Gulf, where, and what the fuck is with Houston having, like, the second largest oil refinery in the nation?
Oh my God! Yeah, and
in the path of hurricanes.
Yeah, and they're leaking, and there's like massive shit being spewed into the air, and it's
burning chemicals off because the places were flooded out. No idea what these people are going to go through. First responders.
I think people are going to die that went there to deal with the plants. Same as like first responders on 9/11 and that kind of stuff. This is just the flooding aside, what it did to the refineries is a natural disaster. It's a disaster. It's incalculable the effect.
And they want to, and remember from the beginning of the show, they want to increase offshore drilling, and that's one of the places is in the Gulf of Mexico.
That's right, where we'll just be annihilated by fucking.
Right.
The next, and Jose isn't it. These storms aren't over.
That's H-I-N-J, bro.
Right.
And I think hurricane season just started.
Yeah, we still got K, L, M, N, O, and P happening,
Jeez. Anyways.
But, and so, everything has to change. Everything has to change. And it's not done with impeachment. It gets me back to the November 4th thing that's coming. This November 4th call is to address DACA, to address the Muslim ban, to address the alt-right, to address
transgender ban.
The transgender ban in the military, to address all the ICE.
All of it.
On November
all the fascism.
We take to the streets.
Have we forgot about him fucking making money off a Trump Tower in Washington, D.C.? Have we forgot about him making money off all this other shit that he's still making money on? Selling his goddamn hats and shit on his goddamn website? Come on. We all forget about that because we're so concerned about DACA and every other motherfucking thing that's going on.
And everything continues to go on. And new legislation that just affects, it's
Right, and now they want to fucking, tax reform is not tax reform, guys. This is about your taxes going up, elimination of the middle class, more trickle-down economics. You pay more, the rich get richer, the poor get poorer. Bottom fucking line.
Yep.
That's what it's about. You don't believe me? You don't have to. You don't have to believe me. I don't give a fuck. Do your own homework.
Yep. So just November 4th. Keep watching it. Watch on Punks for Progress. There's a lot going on. There might be music at the Bay Area version. Hint, hint.
More than just some dude beating on a drum and some guy in a pink dress playing the saxophone.
I'm not in any position to announce that 5 bands have already agreed to do it, but if I was, that would be cool, wouldn't it?
That would be kind of cool if you were in a position to announce that 5 bands have already.
Yeah, I'm not in a position to do that at this point, and neither am I in a position to say that there'll probably be like 30 or 40 more bands.
That's a lot of bands.
That is a lot of bands. If something like that actually happened, that would be a cool way to kick off a stay in the streets, Occupy type, protest, wouldn't it?
Probably get a lot of people in the streets. 30 bands, that's going to take at least a couple of days to get through. Right? Yeah. It's a good reason to stay in the street for a couple of days, right?
I think so. I think someone should start
as long as we got porta potties, I'm good to go.
I think someone should start booking bands for that. That's what I think. Yeah.
That sounds like a good idea.
Yeah. So anyway, let's talk about, it's been a couple weeks, and but on the heels of Charlottesville, there was a lot of events and right-wing rallies that were booked, and then counter demonstrations of those right-wing. There was one in Boston, a couple in Portland.
Right.
Huge responses from counter demonstrations and anti-fascists, and Bay Area was no exception. And as many of our listeners know, I organize with a number of different groups in the Bay Area, and so I want to give our listeners a full rundown of what went down with the Patriot Prayer Rally. What were the dates of those? That was 2 weeks ago, right, Mike?
Yeah, it was before Labor Day, wasn't it?
Yeah. So there was a Saturday.
August.
Yeah, it was Saturday that in San Francisco, and then the following Sunday was in Berkeley, right? And so I was aware that the Berkeley thing was happening long before Charlottesville. It was the say no to communism or some bullshit put on by this trans woman, and then she had invited people like Kyle Bastickman Chapman and a bunch of these other meathead, misogynist, sexist, fascist bigots to come and speak at this thing. And it's just so fucking ridiculous. Really, you're going to hold an event called Say No to Communism in fucking Berkeley? It's just Berkeley is just infested with fucking communists, dude. I mean, that's what
would be why they want to come there.
There.
Well,
right, but it's
the bastion
of
liberalhood kind of a thing. It's like
but it really is socialist with a heavy communist presence, and that just is what it is. And as an anarchist, I'm not a communist, but I really and there's a lot of everything. And yes, you're right, Mike. It is well known as being just liberal in general and progressive liberal. But anyway, that's just funny on its face. But anyway, I'll get back more into the Berkeley thing, the details of what happened. But that event was planned prior to Joey Gibson booking his thing for that Saturday in San Francisco, his Patriot Prayer event. So then after Charlottesville happens, both of these events are in place, and it's okay, Bay Area is the next big stop for the street-fed fascists, for the brown shirts, black shirts, whatever, right? Proud Boys, Identity Rope, Three Percenters and Oath Keepers and all these fucking groups, right? And so the Bay Area, when Charlottesville happened, that day was massively organized, and we have a couple of videos up that the things that I went to with the Anti-Police Terror Project and Refuse Fascism stuff. The day of Charlottesville in Oakland, we marched and shut down the 580 freeway, and then it went into earnest to okay, everybody, they're coming here in, a week, let's get ready. And the organizing efforts, the grassroots, straight up from the street organizing that happened was just beyond impressive, bro. I mean, so the people that I really kind of attended the organizing meetings with, and it started with the ILWU, which is the Longshoremen's Union, but all kinds of other trade unions. I mean, labor really, really jumped on board. And then all kinds of other groups started their own different sort of counter demonstrations, right? So there's the main march with the bulk of all the different unions and parties, Workers' World Party and RCP and IWW, we're going to march with the ILWU. But then there's also another group that said, okay, they're coming to Crissy Field Park on Saturday. Everyone gather up your dog shit and let's, dump it off at Crissy Field Park.
Right, I remember that.
That was one thing that was planned. And unfortunately, the police went, oh, hell no. And they got to Crissy Field Park a little ahead of time and kind of cordoned off, made sure there was a couple cops there because, look, as much as my punk rock in me loves that they were just going to dump a massive dog shit in that park, and just the idea of all these fat just walking around in dog shit was fucking wonderful. But I can't blame the cops for going, no, the entire Bay Area is not going to drop all its dog shit off in our park. So that got the kibosh, I guess. But but there were so many. Okay, so then what is going on is the main counter demonstration for Saturday. It just kind of it was like broken up sort of into three groups, and at first they were all kind of separated from each other, and the police were keeping it that way. They were cordoning off streets to keep these three different groups from combining and becoming one group, because they knew once they had that, once these three groups solidified, there was just thousands and thousands of people, then we could just take over San Francisco, which is exactly what happened. Everyone was really smart, watched all the different kettling practices and things that they were setting up, that the cops were trying to do to keep everyone, and just totally got it, overcame it, and then the three groups united, marched down through the heart of San Francisco, shut down the freaking 101 freeway, showing, trying the off-ramp into the city, and marched around, and it was fabulous, dude. And so Joey and Patriot Prayer, who had their press conference planned for Crissy Field Park, which spurred this huge response, they canceled their press conference, right? And then Joey Gibson makes a statement, so we're going to this other park instead, and we're going to do our press conference there. And so he gets let known by the state government or the local city government, hey, you can't go and be holding press conferences in our public parks without permits and this and that. No, you can't go fucking do that. So he totally fucked himself. They had massive police protection. The safest probably place for Joey and Patriot Prayer would have been in Crissy Field. They would have had thousands and thousands of people surrounding them, but there would have been a massive police presence protecting them too. And it's just so ridiculous. And so anyway, they shut that down. Then they get shut down and can't do their second press conference. So he holds one, like, a quote-unquote press conference. It was basically just a live stream with him and three other fucking idiots talking about, what victims they are and how their free speech is in threat and, whatever. And that was it. And then when the march was all over and, the Bay Area came out, and it was just the biggest giant love fest, you know what I mean? The whole fucking thing. Thousands and thousands of people united from the Bay Area going, fuck no, this is our town. Go back to your fucking Patriot Prayer City, you fucking asshole, And so it was just fabulous. And then, so when it's all over, Joey Gibson and a couple of his friends decide to fucking go to Crissy Field Park and hold their little press conference when everything's over, right? And so it's him and like five other fucking idiots standing in the park with a bunch of press microphones, and of course the press loved it. And they just complained about what victims they were, and and that was it. And then the next day, it's Berkeley, and back in MLK Park, where the big clash happened on April 15th, and it was the same response, massive community response. So where on April 15th, it was the core of the alt-right community against the core of the anarchist far-left community in the East Bay, which, gets all lumped into being Black Bloc or Antifa. But, and it was pretty even numbers. What didn't happen on April 15th was the rest of the Berkeley community didn't come out and support Black Bloc and Antifa as it should have, which would have eliminated, or not eliminated, but seriously reduced the level of violence, because it just wouldn't have been even numbers, and they would have been, the alt-right fascists would have been so outnumbered by the community, which is exactly what happened this time around. That same presence of Antifa Black Bloc was there, but so was everybody else. I was hanging out with Alex Ewan, the Grand Marshal for Pride Parade there. Oh, APTP was there with a truck, and Workers' World Party was out there. I mean, it was just everybody. And but the way the day started out was there was a massive group that had really consisting of your more kind of typical liberals and a lot of clergy and a lot of progressive groups and stuff gathered up by the university. And so I walked up there. That's where I started, and I live streamed, and so people can see that live stream on our channel, and walked around that, checked out that group, which was really, really massive. And then I made my way closer down to MLK Park, which is where other demonstrations were that wanted to directly confront the fascists, right? So I walked down there, and then I ran into, the Refuse Fascism people, and Raphael, who we've interviewed on the show here before. He was down there, giving speeches on the mic, and so I ran into him and talked to them, and then made my way around and got into the park. Now, and where Ralph was, he was on the one side of the park, and they had it so cordoned off that I had to walk like 2 blocks around to get to the front of the park. You get there, and there's not a whole lot of people inside the park, but they're also checking everyone's backpacks and searching everyone as they walk in, and so there's a massive crowd kind of gathering in the street. But there's still, again, there's maybe a couple hundred people outside the park in the street, but there's still a good, couple thousand, at least 2,000-3,000 up at the university. They haven't made their way to MLK Park yet. So I get to the park. I said, fuck it. I let them search my bag. They took all my M16s and my automatic rifles and brass knuckles and all my hand grenades and I had napalm, bro. I mean, I was.
They take your stickers and your buttons too.
Yeah. Actually, all I had was stickers and buttons, but I called those M16s. It said Punks for Progress on them. No, but anyway, so I searched my bag. I went in, and right as I walk in, I see a group. Kind of, all the press is kind of gathered around in a circle, and there's people talking in the middle. And I get up, and it's Johnny Benitez. He's a Proud Boy, and he's one of the kind of leadership people of the Fraternal Order of Alt Knights, which is base doucheman's group of street thug misogynist gang. So I walk up, and I kind of just start listening a little bit to the conversations he was having. And then I ended up getting into the conversation, and the whole video of that exchange is already on our channel, but I'm going to throw it in here now too. And
this dude was at J15.
He was in LA. He was at J15 in LA. He was at the other things that I've been to in Berkeley. I do believe I've seen him in video in Portland. Like, this dude's fucking Johnny Benitez is traveling around, and he trolled us one time, and I told him to go fuck his mother, and you got mad at me for it. Because I admit that was look, I don't have a problem calling people names and stuff, but insults and stuff was probably a little over the top, and we decided to take that comment down. But yeah, so
that was him.
That was him, and he remembered it. He actually said toward the end of the video, I was like, "Hey man, hit me up. We'll talk some more." And hit me up on Punks for Progress. And he's like, "Oh, you're Punks for Progress?" And I'm like, "Yeah, man." He's like, "I used to love you guys." And I'm like, "Okay, first of all, used to, and we've been consistent in our messaging from fucking day one. So there's nothing that's changed about us that you would have loved before and don't like now. So." No, you never liked us, but what it is that you got on and trolled our shit, and I told you to go fuck your mother. That's your connection to Punks for Progress, But listen, man.
Right?
Yeah, he loved us.
Him and Doodle would laugh at us talking shit.
No, there was just one video that he got on and said some shit, and I just reacted and fucking was shitty to the guy, and but which I don't necessarily apologize for, but I can tell you that the exchange that I had with him was pretty lengthy, and he got really. I don't want to, it's bragging, whatever. But fucking, he really got schooled, bro. And if you watch the video, like, this is something that I was ready to do, and I'd really, really prepared myself for. And I actually want to give some credit to my very good friend Joseph Halsworth. He's a veteran, author, dude, all around badass. The dude decided to be a teacher in Oakland. For a public school in Oakland. That's what he wants to do with his life, right? He's just an incredible badass. But at the April 15th thing, he made a point to go down there early before everything started just to have conversations with these guys. And I can tell you back then, I wasn't prepared to do that. It would have been reactionary. I probably would have done a lot of name calling, and it just would have been like, it just would have contributed to the heated thing. I just wasn't mentally or emotionally prepared to do that. And when I saw Joseph do it, I was like, fuck, That's what you should be doing, Aaron. Coming here and just watching people beat the shit out of each other isn't doing anything for anybody. You know, you need to be able to. So I began the task of like, all right, well, what would it mean? How would I actually go about doing that? You know, and how do I get into a place where I can stay calm, you know, with these people that frankly scare me because they're dangerous and they're violent. And so I worked on my rhetoric, man. I worked on my talking points, was ready. And just had this fucking great conversation. So all the things that he came up with, his points, I had done my research on the background of the things that he believes. So I had quick reactions for them and honest reactions. And I was able to bring out facts and like, so it's just a fucking great video. And I want to go ahead and, go ahead and show that right now. What do you think, bro?
Yeah, sure. Let's do it.
So let's show that, and then we'll come back, and there's a couple other videos I do want to show you guys, and we'll explain those. But let's go do that now, and then I ran into some cool people while I was at this event, too. So I want to talk about that. So let's go ahead and play that video, and then we'll come back.
Let's have a trust bill to not work for kids. Let's have a conversation. Go look at Gavin McGinnis. I know who Gavin McGinnis is. He plays the line, man. He's a media fucking Hollywood far rightist. I would say Gavin McGinnis is far rightist. Can we have a conversation? Do you want to hear what I have to say? Look, Proud Boys is a multi-racial organization. I'm not involved in any of it, but I was proud. Why not? All I want to know from you, I don't feel like having a conversation where you go, you circle conclusions, go round and round about like who Gavin McGinnis is. I want to see you denounce wrong. Rise above movement. That's a neo-Nazi. You're not going to get that. Okay, so this dude will not denounce neo-Nazi organization. He will not. This dude will not denounce. You're right. I will not denounce Antifa. You're right. I will not denounce Antifa. I proudly will not denounce Antifa. Yeah. Denounce fucking a neo-Nazi. You will not denounce a neo-Nazi because you are one of them. You hang out with them. Yes, you are. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. Anyone who wants to look up Rise Against, Rise Above, everyone wants to look up Rise Against. Criminal Bank. This guy has
Rise Against isn't a fan of you guys, though, man. That's the truth.
If your definition of hang out with them is they come to the same events as I do. No, if you hang out, take pictures with them. If you take pictures with them, you're part of them. Rise Above movement. I don't hang out with neo-Nazis. I never hang out with neo-Nazis. You are part of them. You're aligned with them, as are the Proud Boys. The Proud Boys, Rise Above movement, identity Proud Boys, all believe that black people are genetically inferior to white people. Denounce that. Okay, so on the record, right here, right now, on the record, denounce the idea that black people are genetically inferior intellectually to white people. Denounce it right now. Crazy. Denounce that specifically. Denounce that black people, the idea that black people are genetically inferior to white people. How is that not supremacy? Why is that not?
He can't do it.
I'm asking you to denounce that idea right now. Say to everyone here that black people are not genetically inferior to white people.
They are not genetically inferior to white people. It's easy to say. Say it, man. It's easy. Black people are not genetically inferior to white people. I just said it. It was easy. You can't say it. You can't say it. You're a bigot, man. You're a bigot, dude.
Because you don't believe it.
Because you're a bigot.
Because I will not let you control the narrative.
Nah, you're a bigot. You're a bigot, man. You think black people are genetically inferior to you. You're a bigot.
You do. You do, and that's why you won't denounce it. You have been outed as a neo-Nazi.
Straight up. Straight up, Proud Boy.
Black people are genetically inferior intellectually to white people. He is a neo-Nazi. He will not renounce the Rise Above movement. Why? Because he's a neo-Nazi who plays games with them. He's a nice little front for the Proud Boys, Identity Europa, and Rise Above the movement. Neo-Nazi, far-right, racist organization. Fuck you. I outed you, motherfucker, for the world to see.
Yes, you did. Thank you, brother. Thank you. Yeah.
What are you talking about? No, I haven't been a Proud Boy for fucking weeks. Yeah.
I'm just curious. I'm not here to.
So nothing changed my mind. I'm not against the Proud Boys. I'm not a Proud Boy because the Proud Boys is essentially a drinking organization. And my focus was on protecting preserving political violence. And so they didn't basically idealize eye to eye because they don't want me like training people to do something. It's not that we have different opinions. Proud Boys are a multi-racial organization. It's gay guys named the Proud Boys and all that stuff. So nothing has changed my mind. I just, they took the goal. Oh, you're that person?
Yeah. So I totally am fine with that. I'm kind of, there's one thing, when we're talking about like politics and all that kind of stuff, it seems like people go in this round and round about how like, well, because I have, these people on my side, it like, makes me feel not a racist, but it seems like there's a lot of opportunities in there, and it doesn't matter what skin color you are.
But what opportunities
that's not really
people think that this is like people have said that to me, like I do this because I'm profiting from it.
I
have lost
actually
thousands
think
of dollars, I've been fired, like I have to worry about my safety, like people believe I'm the white supremacist. I've received rape threats, death threats, like all for ideas that I don't actually hold, because I've actually denounced publicly several times.
Okay.
And so
How
like
do you white? You're like Middle Eastern. Like what the hell? Fucking psycho.
Hey, man, what is your message? What is your message? What do you want to say to the world, dude? What is it? What is your free speech you want to express?
my primary
What is it?
political concern,
Yeah.
illegal immigration is a scheme to hurt and devalue American wages, and not American white wages,
Okay.
disproportionately black and legal Latino wages.
Okay.
So that's my main topic.
So your main topic is you don't like immigrants.
No, not I don't like immigrants, because like and what's funny is like there's people like we know illegal immigrants, like there's people that I know who are illegal immigrants.
Yeah, me
And,
too,
like,
man.
Our desire is like, man, I really like that guy. I don't want him to be, but I understand that illegal immigration as a policy hurts American wages and disproportionately hurts black and legal Latino wages.
Well, then what gives you the right, even especially in this generation, to tell other people that they can't come to this land? You didn't create this land. You didn't even you weren't with Columbus when he came here and raped thousands of people and shit. You weren't even here. Okay, so you have no ownership to it. You didn't do anything to create America, dude.
Like that's
and
a
neither
whole
did
different
they.
narrative. When you ask me
No,
what
it's
my
not.
right
It's
is-
the exact same narrative, man, because what you're saying is you have ownership of this land and they don't.
Yeah, as a citizen.
Right, but what gives you that right as a citizen? Because you fell out your mama's vagina on a plot of fucking dirt,
Not
man?
even because my mom wasn't a citizen when she came here. We came here.
Okay, so you earn citizenship.
Yes.
So, but you want to import rules on other people to have what you have now.
Yeah.
Why? Why can't they just come here and have a fucking better life, dude? They're not a
Because
bunch
they're
of
not gonna have a better
rapists.
life. The more people they come here, another reason that immigration comes down is because the opportunities that used to be here don't exist anymore. They're not going to make it benefit.
And why is that? And why is that?
Because turning this country into
How did it get that way, though?
Because look,
what is it in the system that caused those conditions?
It's nothing in the institutionalized system. Supply and demand.
Wow.
Let me just talk. Supply and demand is a truth. It's just how it is. When something is in
Of course it is. It's what capitalism does.
No,
Yeah, it's a truth. Supply and demand exists.
Exactly.
I say it shouldn't. And then it also bolsters the shit that you've
that's
bought
not
into, which is
capitalism.
that you have right to a plot of dirt and some other fucking human being doesn't.
Look,
it's gross, man.
look,
they're your fellow human beings,
Look,
dude.
without-
And maybe they're misguided and they won't have a better life when they come here, but that's why they're coming, man. Because they experience oppression that you have no idea.
I do, because I came from
No
I
idea.
actually do, because I came from
Oh
there.
my God. And then
I
how
don't
did you
want that
get here?
Legally.
How? What was the process?
Visa. A long wait.
Why did you-
Basically a lottery.
Okay, so
It's a lottery, by the way. That's basically how it works for the most part. And
So you got lucky.
I
So you
did.
got lucky,
I
man.
totally did, yeah.
And you don't want other people to be lucky like you.
The thing
Go
is,
ahead.
If you open the borders to everybody, I haven't had an opportunity to talk.
yeah.
That's not the opportunity. There's a limit to the amount of resources and opportunities in this country. If you open up those floodgates, it's just going to be a third world country. It's not going to make it better for the people coming here. It's going to make here just as bad for everybody here as it is in these other countries like Colombia.
Have you been around this country? It is a third world country. Have you been to Detroit, man?
Yeah.
Have you
Detroit
been
is
to
a
the
third world
fucking
country,
inner
which has been in
cities?
the power
We
for
are.
a long time.
It has been in the power of Democrats.
Detroit used to be one of the wealthiest.
I know, and I got no love for Democrats, man. I got no love for Democrats, man. They're a bunch of sold out. Well, okay, all right. No love for Democrats. They're sold out to the same people that the Republicans are.
Look, you know what would have been the most powerful thing? There's things that we're always going to disagree on.
Yeah.
But if Occupy, in its inception, before it got taken over by Democracy Now! And shit like that, and if the Tea Party would have gotten together and settled those stupid little differences they had, we would have had the most powerful populist movement.
I agree with you, and I tried. And I tried. We reached out to Tea Partiers during Occupy, and we went to them at an Obama march. We were against Obama too,
Look
just
how
like
much
them,
less interested
and they
people are
cussed
in
us out.
conversation than they are in, like,
They want the chaos.
Remember when I asked you though, there was one main point
Why
you
do you
wanted
hate
to
me
talk
so
about.
much? You're like angry with me. And you yelled at me, you called me a cocksucker.
I don't like what you stand for.
What do I stand
I'm not letting people in this country who need to escape their horrible lives in another country.
for? Okay, but you realize that if you open the borders to everybody, that they're going to have horrible lives in this country. And then
They'll have better opportunities than they have there, man.
They really don't. That's why a bunch of people.
Yes, they will, man. They will have a better opportunity.
And everybody that lives here will have a
I mean, they'll go to a freaking like $2 an hour job from a 39-cent an hour job, man.
But the reason it's a
their
$2
baby
an hour job
probably
is because
won't
it used to be a $10
die.
an hour job.
Their baby probably won't die, man.
That goes back to the capitalist supply.
So
That's right.
everywhere should be equally
It does.
bad. I don't hate anybody.
That's socialism, homeboy.
Look, I respect your passion because I used to be in Concord where you came from. And the reason I got into the trucking was because I infiltrated it as someone who was concerned that there was going to be pogroms and actual racial violence and the clan was going to start losing. None of that is true. None of that is true.
Are you kidding me? Look at what the Trump has ushered in, has conjured up all this hate, all these fucking people who think they can just march as Nazis.
They're not. So what the media does is like,
Charlottesville was Nazis, homeboy. You can't deny that. Give me a fucking break.
Wait. Let's go.
Hear me out, right?
Remember what I said that we were going to sit here and agree on?
what?
That there's extremism from all groups, right? At some sort of point, we have to call it out. So the rallies, that a lot of the Trump rallies brought in those same people that went to Charlottesville, same people, and that's the problem.
I have never seen that. I've never seen it.
Okay, so you're denying it again. And
Right.
that's the problem.
How can you not have seen it?
And when people
And
do
I also
show,
want to know why you tore down our signs. You were all freedom of speech, and you were. Are you a horror seeking because the sign? The sign said. Anti-racism. Excuse me, I'm talking to this real quick. The sign said anti-racism.
Johnny Benitez. Benitez.
Why were you tearing down our?
Because Antifa is a terrorist organization.
That's nonsense.
To who? You won't even accept the white supremacists that have been going along with your rallies with Proud Boys.
What white supremacists?
Proud Boys were infiltrated by white supremacists. You haven't even had to debate this about that.
But he did, and he did, and he kicked everybody that was out.
That is an acknowledgement that from the start that happened. All I wanted to get was to say.
He got rid of it. Because Antifa is a terrorist organization. Would you tear down a Klan? Like
That
the
is
Klan?
according to you, not all of
That's
them.
according
No,
to what I
I know a lot of Antifa. I know Antifa, and they're not terrorists.
What did Cornel West say? Did you hear what Cornel West said about Antifa? Did you?
No, I haven't.
He said, quote unquote, if it had not been for anarchists and Antifa, I would have been squashed like a cockroach. He went on to say, Antifa and anarchists saved my life, and I will never forget it. That's Cornel West, man.
That's your point. Let me
So calling them terrorists is ridiculous.
Let me answer it this way. Pablo Escobar killed thousands of people, but there are people that love him because he bought houses. Doing a nice thing doesn't take away doing bad things.
Where is an instance of actual murder and terror inflicted by Antifa? I was here too, man, and your side brutalized a shit ton of people as well.
Yeah, after you guys started.
It was a no, they didn't.
Are you
No, the
denying-
cops
are you-
started
no, no,
it.
are you denying
Listen.
that-
This is
let
my
me
take on
have
it.
my point.
I say the cops started it. I say the cops put up that orange barrier right there, and they lined up in the middle, and Antifa, check it out, and Antifa gathered up. The black gathered over there. You guys all gathered over here, and we screamed and yelled at each other. And when it got to that heated point, the cops split, and the two crowds went at each other. There is no one person who started it.
Who cut the barricades?
Both sides.
No.
Both sides. I have video of both sides did it.
We have video.
I know you do. Antifa did it. Antifa broke sides, and there were people masked up that committed violence that day. Okay? But so did your side. So did your side, man.
So did-
Both your sides. Both sides instigated violence.
Both sides did instigate it. Yes, they did.
And I have respect and honor and love for Antifa.
Yes.
Well, then maybe we should.
Antifa
Then
has
maybe
a
we shouldn't be
down the
promoting
barrier,
political violence.
And then,
like that's
then they
my
threw
thing.
the
I stand
M80s.
against the idea of political
and
violence
then
in general.
the
What?
other guys jumped on the other barrier and
Right.
attacked. So.
And it was right here. They shot off a big flashbang right
Yep.
here, and everyone was gathered right here.
Yep.
And then you saw the cops. They went broop, and they split off down that way and that way, and then it was all out fucking chaos all the way around the block, pushing a trash can and fighting each other for fucking 6 hours. But both sides were doing
What
it.
you're talking about? Tell me what happened. I'm willing to hear you out. Like who did it? What happened? Tell me. Bro, did it happen? Did someone chase you down and like try to assault?
It was your fucking Proud Boys, alright?
Which guys?
Your Proud Boys.
Which guys?
You know which guys?
I don't know who.
Only three guys you hang out with.
I don't know the situation you're talking about, man. I honestly don't.
You got to accept, man, there's a lot of people on your side that are foul, fucked up people. I think you're kind of waking up a little bit, but your movement is rooted in hatred, man.
It's not.
And yes, it is, man. I know you say it's not, and I know you genuinely don't believe that, but it is. And all of us, that's all we hear from you guys. That's it. We don't hear your message at all. All we hear is how angry and hateful you are. That's all. Then change your fucking message somehow. And you don't have one, because when I asked you, all you said was you're worried about illegal immigration, dude. People in this country are suffering under capitalism. People of color in their communities and LGBT community are abused and suffering every single day here, and you're worried about immigrants.
Okay, so let me have my talking point then. You say that, right?
Right.
If capitalism is so, and that's what we're about, why are the capitalists, supposedly, these big businesses like agribusiness, why are they lobbying to bring these people in if we're all part of one big thing and they hate immigrants?
Because I would say because it bolsters the division narrative. It keeps us divided.
No, it's because they can pay them like
they
$3
exploit
an hour to
it.
work
That's the nature of what capitalism does, and its defense mechanism, fascism. And what it does is it divides people. It finds already pre-existing divisions and exploits them. And that's what's going on with this whole immigration issue, man. Borders don't exist. They don't exist.
Do you live in a house with walls? Like, do you let anybody in your house? Do you have an open door policy at your house?
That's my home. It's not a land and it's not a border. It's my home, that's it. I got my one space. I'm one individual in this world, man. And if somebody else wants to invade and be near my space, that's okay. If they come up in my home, I'll probably kill them. Okay?
I like that.
But they can come on this same plot of dirt as me. And when we go out in public, we share a space together. Talk to me, man. Hit me up on Punks for Progress. I would like to talk to you more.
Oh, you're Punks for Progress?
I am.
I used to love you guys.
Excuse me, can I follow you on Instagram?
Well, I'm not on Instagram, but you can on Facebook and Punks for Progress. I will, man.
What's your name?
Just follow Punks for Progress.
So yeah, there's that. So that's me, Dr. Johnny Benitez. And dude, it's been interesting since then. You know, he says in the video that he's no longer a Proud Boy, and he was, you know, leadership of the Fraternal Order of Alt Knights, which he has now stepped down from. So he's stepping down from all these groups, and if you watch that video, I just, you know, I'm not saying that he's a great guy and I want to go be his best friend and everyone should love Johnny Benitez now, but like, I think you can kind of see in his eyes, man, that he was listening. And I think that I got the impression that this is someone who's really questioning this fucking bullshit that he'd gotten himself all tangled up in. And I can tell you also, you know, when he left the Proud Boys and he's leaving the Alt Knights, he posts his videos about how he's still, you know, he's not anything against anything that they stand for. He still thinks they're great groups. He just wants to kind of do his own thing, and you know, he has some other things he wants to focus on. So he you know, like stands by their message and all their points and blah blah blah, and their, you know, their manifestos or whatever. And but they're still putting out videos like one dude challenged him to an MMA fight, and you know, he's now, you know, Juan Cucnidez, and you know, I mean, and that, all this stuff is so typical of the way fascists have always worked. And I remember this from like Nazi skinhead groups in the 80s and 90s. Like, either you were 100% in, and if you even questioned for a second, you weren't just out, you were out really fucking bad. And you now, if you did actually leave the group, you weren't just an ex-Nazi skinhead. You were the worst fucking traitorous vermin ever. You're now like a race traitor, and like, I mean, they hate ex-members of their ranks far more than they hate any minorities. I swear to God. Like, the visceral violence that they visit on people who leave their ranks, it's terrifying. That's why there's these huge groups like Life After Hate, which fucking Trump defunded, which helps people separate. It's not easy. You can't just go, hey, I'm not going to be a fascist anymore. Later, fellas, it's been fun. Fuck no. They come after you. And the videos and stuff that I've seen from Proud Boys, and I'm talking about Benitez, they fucking hate him. They're saying that I've seen video of them claiming that he's always been a leftist and an infiltrator from the start.
Oh my God.
I mean, Mike, you saw him in L.A. That dude meant it. He fucking meant it.
Yeah, he just, his whole energy was just. I stood right next to him. I got pictures of him. And I'm like, you know what? That was one of the reasons I just couldn't hang. I'm like, I can't take this. This is just, it's too much.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, the reason I freaked out and told him to go fuck his mother is because, he scared me, man. It's just his online presence is very intimidating or whatever. And then when I got to talk to him, it was a different person, man. And again, I'm not trying to say go out and be his best buddy, but it just, this whole thing and watching his community react to him leaving them after having that talk, that one-on-one kind of connection with him, in Berkeley, or at MLK Park. It is just so indicative of the way the Nazi Party worked, the way Mussolini's people worked. There is no gray area. You're either 100% in or you're 100% out. And this is fascism. And so anyway, so I have that talk with him. And so I'm like, okay, right after that, there's a fight that goes down, and I run off to go see that, and you see all this in the live stream too. And actually, soon after the stuff with Johnny, my live stream got really, really grainy and bad. It's just so many people live streaming and whatever in that one space, it just degraded the signal, and I ended up stopping. So then I just got short videos after that and saved them on my phone. And we're going to show you some more of those here in the show. But after I talked to Johnny, there's a little scuffle that goes off, so I kind of go over there and start watching that. And then I look over, and lo and behold, there's Sammy Town, the singer from Fang, standing right there. So, hey, Sammy, what's up? And I've known Sammy for more than 15 years. So I did shows for him in Reno way back when, 15 years ago. And actually, the kids were in diapers when I first met Sammy. And anyway, so he's there, and of course, we actually one time, me and my ex-wife and the kids, when they were little, we went down to the Bay Area and barbecued over at Sam's house when he was just starting the Resistoleros, and we actually got to see one of the early practices of the Resistoleros and barbecued. And he had his kids are right around the same age as mine. And anyway, so it was just nice. I hadn't seen him in quite a long time, and so I ran into Sam there, and we talked, and then I actually went, and he's got a couple tattoo shops now. He's been clean and sober for a number of years, and we're all involved with program, and good friends with Al from Clean and Sober Punks, who we met at Punk Rock Bowling. What's up, Al from Clean and Sober Punks? And so I went down to his shop and got me a fucking Fang tattoo from Sammy Town of Fang. So,
right on, yeah.
But anyway, so I saw Sam, and I cruised around, and it was such a different story from the last thing on the 15th, because there being such a huge turnout from all of the community in the East Bay, as opposed to just the Black Bloc and the alt-right. And then, of course, the alt-right numbers was so dwindled. It was just a handful of people who, frankly, had the guts to show up, So we're cruising around, and I'm walking around kind of talking to different people and looking at different little scenes going on, and there's no violence, really. And then, no fighting, there's a lot of yelling and screaming, and at one point, I walk up to this guy, and I start talking to him, and this guy, he's like, I'm not a Trump supporter, I can't stand Trump. This is on the Facebook live stream, actually, if people want to look on the Facebook page. I start talking to this guy, and he's talking, again, he doesn't like Trump, and he thinks he's a buffoon, he admitted he's a racist, and all this stuff. He's like, but I'm here because this guy's freedom of speech is being trampled, and he points to the frickin', fascist oath keeper, whatever, douchebag that's standing next to him. And honestly, I think it was Baked Alaska, but I'm not sure. But I didn't really talk to the guy, and I'm like, yeah, but that dude's a fucking fascist. You're not standing up for free speech, dude. You're protecting a fascist, right? And him and I are actually having a conversation, and then this whole big group of you know, your typical liberal, a bunch of pink hats and stuff, you know, were there, and they're chanting Black Lives Matter and yelling at these two guys. And then this one woman starts yelling at me and telling me that, no platform, don't talk to them, you're not supposed to talk to them. And I'm going, fuck you, I'll talk to anybody I want, fuck off, you know. And no, you can't fucking talk to him, you yell with us, you have to chant with us. I'm like, first of all, I would be happy to. They were chanting Black Lives Matter, which I obviously am 110 million% behind, right? And I really loved the pink hats. The women's march was wonderful, right, bro? You know?
Yeah, it was. It was wonderful.
These are my people chanting something that I agree with, but I ended up telling them, you need to shut the fuck up and leave me the fuck alone. I'll talk to anybody I want to. And so I ended up kind of having the conversation with him. It just kind of wasn't going anywhere because this guy had got it in his head that these people, doesn't matter what they believe, they have every right to say it. And we're just going to fundamentally disagree on that. And I'm not going to convince that guy of that in that moment. And I didn't want to try. And even when I was talking to Johnny, it really wasn't about, I'm going to try and win this guy over to my side. It's more about, like, these are the talking points you can use. And hopefully other people can watch my conversation with him and maybe even copy some of my talking points. If they see it worked or felt it worked, then they can go and use it in future things. So it's not really about convincing the person you're talking to. And when we get to the end of the show, I'm going to tell people about a podcast I was on recently, and I'll get back a little bit about, because I was on with John Carrico, who is an anarchist from South, IWW member, who engages the alt-right too. And he agreed that, you know, when you're talking to these people, it's not about convincing the person you're talking to necessarily. It's about the other people that are watching the conversation and getting things across so that they can hear them and that other people can see, no, there is a response to this ridiculous fascist notion that this guy is espousing, you know. So I think I was able to at least pull that off. I don't know that I won anybody over, you know. But yeah, you know, like I said, I walked around for a little while talking to different people, and then all that massive group that was up by the university, where all the thousands of people were, had, by this time, they've converged. Following the Anti-Police Terror Project's trucks that had the PA system on it, so just thousands of people with the black bloc up front, too. Massive black bloc presence, and they converge on the park, and it doesn't take long, bro. It doesn't take long. They're like, no. We are the East Bay community, and you're telling us fascist pig cops that we can't come in our park? Fuck you. So it didn't take long, man. Led by the Black Bloc, of course, where it just completely broke the police line and took over the park. And I'm going to show that video right now, and then I'm going to show another video right after it of Joey Gibson and what's his name, Tiny Two Toes or whatever the hell his name, his thug bodyguard, Joey Gibson's thug bodyguard from Patriot Prayer. They show up to the park, dude, not 5 minutes after the Black Bloc has taken the park. Like, they're still in, like, celebratory cheer mode when this fucking idiot shows up, and him and his buddy, and they put their arms up in the air to make a spectacle of themselves, to say, we're here now, and they just instantly get fucking pushed out of the park. And they run instantly to the cops a half block away from the park, and the cops like put him in handcuffs and act like they're arresting him, which was bullshit because Joey was posting on Patriot Prayer like 10 minutes later, and he still tried to act like they got arrested, and I fucking called him on it on his shit, like, fuck you, Joey, you straight up, those cops put you in handcuffs because they knew damn good and well that those 9 cops wouldn't have been able to stop the hundreds of anarchists that were coming for you, because there was cops in Klan. The cops fucking protected that motherfucker. He wasn't there for any type of preordained speech. He wasn't one of the people who was scheduled to speak at the anti-communist thing. He's just a dude who showed up, made a fucking spectacle of himself, and by being there said, bring it on. Here we are, everybody. And then runs to the fucking cops when they told him, get the fuck out of here. It's just sick. But anyway, I'm going to show you those 2 videos. And then I'm going to come back one more time and tell you guys about the next video that I want to show after that, and then we'll wrap it up from there. But I want to show you these videos. This is going to be the Black Bloc taking the park, which is just such a wonderful bit of video to watch, and then followed by Joey and Tiny Two Toes showing up.
All right, here you go.
part. But as you know, we've got a whole lot of people that are over there that aren't able to get to us. So let's do some training so they can hear us over there. Understand? Comments from the other ranches are over there. So let's let them hear us in solidarity and unity. All right? So we know it's hot. We know you're tired. We got this part. Please park. 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 Hey! Everybody check out the plane up there. Black Lives Matter. Resist racism. Up in the sky. Black Lives Matter. Resist racism. Please park. Please park. Please park. All park. Please park. Please park. Please park. Mic check. Mic check. Mic check. Mic check. The PPD has stood down. PPD has stood down. The park is now ours. The park is now ours. The defensive line can chill. Defensive line can chill. But remain vigilant. But remain vigilant. People can take the park. People can take the park. Even if you're not. Even if you're not. Part of the defensive line. Part of the defensive line. This park is now belong to. Is now belong to the people. The people. Black Lives Matter! Black Lives Matter! Black Lives Matter! Black Lives Matter! Black Lives Matter!
Joey Gibson just arrived. 5 minutes after Antifa took the park.
You alright, man? You alright? You alright?
Shut
Come on, Joey, laugh! Come on, Tony! Come on, laugh!
And that's how we run these motherfuckers.
Dude, you gotta give it up. That just the image of them taking the park. It was so cool. So the way that happened and the way I was able to catch that with such having such a awesome spot to film from and to catch it, because if you notice right at the beginning of that video, you hear the guy go, "So we fucking taking this park or what?" Right? And I'm like, "Oh my god, how bitchin' is this?" And but so in the minute leading up to that, I'm standing there with Alice Yuan from Pride, from the Grand Marshal of Pride, who I had met when I marched with them back in San Francisco Pride, and we're both looking at it, and it was just real obvious. You know, the Black Bloc had been there, and the truck, the APTP truck, and the rest of the group from the university had been standing in this spot for, I don't know, half hour or so, and maybe a little longer, and giving speeches from the truck and doing chanting and all this stuff. And it was just, you could almost feel it, man. They were about to do something. It was like, I looked at Alex and she looked at me, and, you know, and she's like, Black Bloc's about to move, right? Something to that effect. And I'm like, oh, hell yeah, they are. So I'm going to go get it. I'm going to go film whatever it is they're about to do. And so I walk over there and start filming, and then boom, that's when the guy says it. So I just jumped up right on this little cement frickin' like barrier thing. So I was up elevated, and boom, they just started rushing. So I'm just right there. Got that. Oh, I just loved it. It was so fun, dude. And even like you listen to the speeches coming off the truck, they're already off doing their thing. And as half the group finally has already and half the Black Bloc is already in the park, they're like, oh shit, we're taking the park. So they totally shift their speeches and stuff from the truck until they get on board. Whose park? Our park. You know, that was just wonderful. And that was just, no, police officers, you don't get to keep the entire East Bay community out of its park so that, you know, a handful of 10, 15 fascists can run their fucking mouths in it. That's not how this works. This is our fucking park. And that's what Berkeley said to the police officers at that point. So anyway, that happens. And then Joey shows up and gets run out, and, you know, the cop save his ass. And as I'm filming that, I turn around, man. And right there is this dude. His name's Picklefield. Okay. Now this Picklefield guy, I kind of have a history with him. It's not really a history, but he filmed me, and we had words during the J15 march, right? And he labeled me RCP, which is just ridiculous. I'm an anarchist, so I'm not a part of any communist party. But I'll march with people who are communists, but whatever. He just got it wrong. And but he was filming people on J15, and he was super hyper focused on people that were masked up. So what he's doing is he's attempting to dox people. Without question, that's what he's doing. And he goes to leftist marches to do this shit. And he's this old fucking like kind of middle-aged guy. He's probably older than you, Mike, which makes him really old. But you know, probably just doesn't fucking have much of a life or going on. So he's trying to be a big player in alt-right world, you know, and he wears a laminated Oath Keeper's badge when he goes to shit. I don't know, maybe he is an Oath Keeper. I don't know, whatever. I don't know anything really about this guy other than he has his freaking a YouTube channel. And anyway, so I was kind of familiar with him because he's come to marches I've been to and tried to dox people. And again, he focuses on the people who are masked up. And on J15, these guys are asking him, look, man, we just don't want to be filmed. Why do you have to film? Go film the other shit. Why do you have to focus on us? And he's like, why don't you want to be filmed? Right? And so in his video, I called him on it. I'm like, because you're fucking doxing people, dude. Because you send these videos and you show it to your fucking alt-right comrades who then come down and fucking, you know, find us and try to do harm to us. And he cut me off in his video, cut me off in mid-sentence on that, dude. Oh, fucking pussy. So anyway, I just don't like the guy. And so I see him right after Joey Gibson and Tony, or what's his name, Tiny, get saved by the cops. I turn around and there he is, and a bunch of people have recognized him, and they're like, fucking fascist fucker, and they start chasing him. So I'm going like, later, pickle dick, right? Because I figured they're going to chase him off. But he ends up getting a pretty good beat down, dude. And you know, my instant reaction when it happened was, I'm not going to lie, I fucking liked seeing it. because the word on the street in Berkeley is that people have been hurt because of the things that he does. And so he brought this shit on himself, and I even made a video of it and put it on our channel and ultimately decided to take it down. And I'm going to show you the video of his beatdown here. But the reason I'm still questionable and on the fence about it is because, look, I spend most of my time and my effort is really where my energy, where I want it to go, as you know, Mike, is the abolition of prisons. I have I'm not comfortable with the ideas of revenge and retribution. Okay, so he got beat down as revenge and retribution and punishment for things that he had done. So yes, my initial reaction was I kind of delighted in it, but the more I thought about it, I don't like that. I don't appreciate that. I don't support that. I was supported running his ass out, maybe pushing him around a little bit, but he took some pipes to the head and a bunch of punches, and it was an African-American gentleman who fucking literally jumped in and laid himself on top of him and completely fucking saved his ass. So Pickle Dick, if you're listening, you know that, right? That was a black man who saved your ass. Anyway. And so it stopped him from getting beaten too bad, and he gets let up, and I start to walk away. And a couple of minutes later, I walk up on a big group of anarchists still outside the park, and they're walking down a side street, and a cop comes up in a squad car, and he's got like a suburban kind of sport utility vehicle cop about a half block behind him. What they're going to do is they want to block off both ends of the street and stop the anarchists from, I say anarchists because mostly anarchists, but it's just a shit ton of people. They don't want them to converge into the street. So the cop kind of rolls up in his car, chirps his lights, and he's like, move back, move back. And it was obvious in that second the protesters were not going to have it. And so I pulled out my phone real quick and started filming, and they instantly just said, fuck no. And they start marching up to the cop car. So he has to fucking back up, and he backs into some fucking car and turns around and splits. So I'm going to show you the video of that. But then and then so after the cop kind of retreats, I start walking down the street more, and there's Pickle Dick still standing there, and he's kind of, he's obviously dazed and confused because he just had the shit beat out of him, and I gave him a pretty good fucking verbal lashing, and I'm going to show you that as well. I'm going to put that in. So that's the kind of the context of what's going on with these next two clips we're going to show you. So one is actually what happened to Picklefield, and then the protesters forced the policeman to retreat, followed by me adding insult to injury to Jay Pickledick. And when I put the video up I put up a short video of just the protesters forcing the cop car to retreat, and I put it up as on the title of it is "The Anarchists Forced the Policeman to Retreat." And the reason it's that title and why it makes me giggle and makes me so happy is because it's there's a line in a Conflict song that off the Ungovernable Force album, where it's a news commentary talking about rioting in Britain, and one of the lines in is the newscaster says, "And the rioters forced the policeman to retreat," and then the bass kicks in, it's just fucking rad. So that video became an homage to Conflict.
Awesome.
So there's a little bit of punk rock for you. So let's go ahead. I want to show you the video of what happened to Picklefield, and just be warned, it's pretty brutal and graphic.
Okay.
Followed by what's going on with the forcing the cop car to return, and then my words for Pickle Dick, and then we'll come back, and we got some videos that we want to talk about and plug, and we'll wrap this shit up.
Later, Pickle Dick! Later, Pickle Dick!
all fucking day. Doxing my fucking fucking. You're a doxer. Hey! You're a doxer in the mail, though. Hold on. Yeah, motherfucker. I don't think people are coming to you yet, fucker.
Holy fucking cops. What you do online, Pickle Dick, has results. It has repercussions. What you did to people in doxing resulted in this. You brought this on yourself, man. You go home and fucking think about all the groups you try to organize, man. Because this is what it brought on you. A lot of people have been hurt because of your fucking doxing, dude. You earned this shit. Go home and rethink your shit, man.
Go home and rethink your shit.
Well, I mean, really. I mean, I hope he did, because I don't delight in that dude getting beat down. He's an old fucking dude. It's not how you handle things. And, but, like I said to him, man, the things that we do online, they have real life, real-time repercussions. Facebook exists. And when you talk to people on Facebook, that's another human being you're talking to. That's why this trolling thing, I just don't get it. Like, why would you do that to another human being? Well, it's just Facebook. There's this weird disconnect. Because it's social media, because it's Facebook, it's somehow not real. And it is,
Facebook,
man.
Twitter, Instagram.
Right. All of it. All social media, the social media I use the most is Facebook, so I always, use Facebook as my reference. But yeah, any of it, Instagram and, the Snapchat world, all that stuff. This is real stuff that has real time, real life repercussions. And when you're devoting yourself to, that's another thing that this Picklefield dude has a reputation for, is trying to get all these groups organized together. And, you're organizing fascist groups and trying to make them stronger, and meanwhile you're, trying to dox kids, essentially, who don't want their identities known when they stand up against the government.
Yeah, some of the people I marched with were quite young.
Yeah. But our generation, not you and I think we always give much love to the millennials, but there's also this fucking millennials, lazy ass motherfuckers don't know shit with their masks,
Some were younger than millennials, dude.
Well, and so what?
Exactly, so what?
Shit. That doesn't mean that they're not intelligent people. Some
that actually probably means that they are intelligent.
Exactly. Some idiot troll got on our shit and called them gosh darn it, not Asperger's, but autism.
Autistic.
Yeah, they called them autistic fucking retards or something. Now autism is something that's just instantly taken for granted as an insult. So fuck yeah. I told them, we got family members that are autistics on the spectrum, and you probably do too, you dumb fuck. Insensitive prick. But anyway, that I don't know, man.
The Autistics were a good band.
Yes, they were. I have that record. And there's this again. There's this whole campaign actually to have the alt-right discredited, and I want to talk a little bit about that. But this guy,
you mean to have?
To have the Antifa discredited.
There you go.
Thank you. But this guy, I don't even know if this asshole really understands the impact he's having on the world and what he's doing. The impression I get is he gets to fucking be a somebody, sort of. He's getting his 15 minutes, really, but you're doing it wrong, man. You're doing it you're out focusing on individuals who end up getting hurt because of what you do. That's not creating a positive fucking impact in the world. You know, like, you're not affecting change. You're attacking kids, man. And they got pissed at you and beat your fucking ass for it. So, you know, again, I'm not trying to promote what happened to him or validate what happened to him, but I get it. You know what I mean, bro?
Yeah, I do. I understand. I mean, I wouldn't do it, and I wouldn't participate in it. I might delight in it a little bit, going, you know what, you get what you fucking asked for. You can spout all the goddamn racism you want, but be prepared to accept the consequences. And the consequences are, there are some people that might hit you in the face for saying the things that you're saying. It may not be me, it may not be Antifa, it may not be anybody associated, or, you know, it may just be... It may be a black guy. I mean, it may be an Asian dude. You never fucking know.
Look, here's the thing, Mike. It's not going to be me. It's not going to be you, Mike, that's going to go hit these people.
True, exactly.
But somebody is. And if you're doing things in the world that could very likely result in someone hurting you, you need to fucking think about what you're doing. And is it really right?
Hurting you and hurting somebody else. Because that speech definitely hurts other people, which absolutely is not covered under the First Amendment, by the way.
No, it's not. Not even remotely close, you know? And then this whole... Well, listen, you know, so Thursday, we're recording this now, it's Tuesday night, but on Thursday, Ben Shapiro's coming to fucking Berkeley University. It's the same group that brought Milo, that brought Ann Coulter, that kicked off all this fucking shit that's gone down in Berkeley ever since. Now Ben Shapiro's coming back. You know, alt-right. You know, the normalization of fascism. That's who he is. And so, of course, Refuse Fascism is planning a massive speak out, and they got all these great speakers coming to hold a completely separate event, and to really just get the whole fucking thing. There's this ongoing onslaught, full frontal fucking phalanx of fascism on the street and from the government. And a bunch of fucking people who are trying to self-organize in their own community to protect themselves from it are being systematically labeled as terrorists. The narrative of the alt-right is winning out with the liberals. You liberals, if you're not on board with supporting Antifa, then you are on board with supporting fascism. Period. You don't like some of the tactics that Antifa and Black use in protecting themselves and their community from this onslaught of fascism, then you need to stand by them in numbers, big numbers. Because then guess what? The tactics that you don't like won't be necessary. 5 or 6 people got their head bopped and thumped in MLK Park in Berkeley a couple weeks ago. But, and of course, the media focused incessantly on that. All you saw from every fucking media outlet of what went down on Berkeley was those 5 or 6 isolated fucking instances of violence. Hours and hours and hours of unity, harmony, celebration, and solidarity went uncovered by the media. And it's been used to portray Antifa and Black as violent terrorists. When what they did is they pushed a few fucking fascists out of a park, and a couple of them got their fucking skull bopped in a little bit in the process. But they're terrorists, right? You got people like fucking Noam Chomsky and Chris Hedges making comparisons between the alt-right and Antifa.
Well, let me tell you what I heard the other day at my meeting.
Cool.
One of the girls I work with had mentioned that she was listening to NPR on her way to the meeting, and they were talking about Antifa and how sometimes violence is necessary. And
wow, NPR.
NPR. I didn't get to talk to her about it, but I wondered if she had, if that was Mark she was talking to, Mark Bray.
Bray.
Dude that wrote Bray.
Bray.
I wonder if they were talking to him. because I know he has been saying that. He's like, hey, we'll look at history. When confronted with it on one of his interviews, he said, they asked him, is violence okay? And he's like, well, you have to take a look at history.
Right.
He's like, how did they defeat fascism in the 1920s and 30s?
You check it out. They had a lot of meetings and focus groups and stuff, and they tried to use democratic means to stop Mussolini and Hitler.
Tried to find common ground.
Yeah, they tried to find common ground, and guess what happened? 6 million Jews died. And World War II happened. Because we tried to find common ground.
And it's pretty simple. Either you are against fascism or you are for fascism. It's that simple. Yeah, and if you're against fascism, then you're Antifa.
Isn't that weird how that works? Really simple?
That's really, really simple.
I mean,
you don't have to wear black and red.
Nope, you sure don't. You can wear whatever you wear every day.
My Punctual Progress jacket.
Yeah. Wear a suit and tie. You don't have to mask up. You don't have to smash Bank of America windows. You just have to take a stand against fascism. And if enough people do it, the controversial tactics that make liberals uncomfortable that Black Bloc sometimes employs won't be necessary.
That's true. That's absolutely true. I believe that. I think if they outnumber them, there's no reason. Just outnumber them.
And we need to outnumber the fascists, but the fascists are also in the White House. And that brings me back to November 4th. Starting November 4th is when we put a stop to all of this. It's the beginning of the end. And we're going to hear a lot more about it on the show. And every city needs to come out on November 4th and stay in the fucking streets. But in the meantime, as you're anxiously preparing for November 4th, we've put up videos that you can watch.
While you're making your signs for the march.
While you're packing your supplies and your Cliff Bars and your bottles of water, there's videos you can
While
watch.
you're trick-or-treating on Halloween.
So, dude, I went and saw the Vibrators.
Wow. Dude.
Oh, I mean, we're so good. They're so good. It's on the Salinas, and this is their last U.S. tour. And I'm going to try and go to another show. They're going to be playing with Fang here coming up. I'm going to go to that too. But so I went to that. It was in Salinas, California. They played with the Infirmities, Screaming Bloody Marys, Fucks. They played with Drunk with Power, Panhandlers Union. Dude, it was such a good show. And it's Screaming Bloody Marys is our homeboy Dave Dalton and Angelique Stacy, and they follow us.
Right, Angelique Stacy.
Yeah, fucking righteous, cool motherfucking people from Screaming Bloody Marys, and Dave Dalton runs Die Laughing Records. Sick, incredible freaking label with Vibrators and Screaming Bloody Marys and Fang, and there's so much good stuff on that label. But anyway, they all played, and I got video of that up, so check that out. I actually just posted it tonight. So it's just brand new and it's up there, and then there's also a second Vibrators video because I live streamed a couple of the songs, the first 2 songs they played. So watch both of those videos. What else we got up here? Dude, you went and saw what was that fucking gig you went to that you didn't film Dag Nasty at?
It's not Dag Nasty wasn't there, bro. I went back and looked, and Dag Nasty was not on there. I have a picture of the schedule at the venue, and Dag Nasty is not on that schedule at all.
The flyer you showed me when you first said you were going, the first thing that stood out to me was Dag Nasty, and that's why I was like, you will film Dag Nasty or I'll fucking kill you or something stupid like that.
And I went back and looked at him like,
okay. Yeah, but the point is, Michael, you had to go back and look.
I did. I had to go back and look because I didn't. Yeah, it was not. It was 110 degrees in the middle of the fucking.
But you did get some good footage while you were there.
I saw one of my favorite bands, Interrupters, Amy and the Boys. The Selector put on a great show. Did you see the video that the Selector posted of me?
Yeah, and I actually edited the title.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I had to re-edit the title because it's not just Too Much Pressure. It's a medley. It's Too Much Pressure and Pressure Drop.
Oh, yeah. Well, no, But did you see there was so like the next day Selector posted a video that a fan had posted, and she said
I did see that. You come dancing through in the pit a couple times.
Yeah, I was like, oh, check it out.
From. I was wondering, like, where the hell did this come from? Who filmed this? I was confused by it. I'm like, oh, but there he is. Yeah,
check it out. So there's that. So there's Interrupters and Selector, because they did do Pressure Drop. So that's up there. I think that's the only videos I got. I hate taking videos at shows. I feel like an idiot.
I know. Yeah, but you know what? Our viewers like them.
I'm sure they do.
So you can feel like an idiot for a couple minutes and get some fucking cool video for our fucking followers to watch, man.
So there's that.
What else we got? Oh, and then we had the Punker Mike's birthday ball a while back, and we live streamed from that. But then I went and I took all the video and the live stream video and all kinds of photos and whatever and put it all together in one video, which is really cool. So that's just Punker Mike's birthday ball with an F, birthday ball. So that's up, and that's really worth watching. All the local fucking bands from your area and stuff.
I haven't seen that. I definitely have to check that one out. I've only seen bits and pieces of the live stream, so I'm looking forward to this edited version.
And then it's got and then footage of like the different booths and stuff that were there, all your vendors that you had come out.
Hey, Dick Chakra.
Yeah. So that's a really cool video, and that's up. Check that. And it's long. It's like 2.5 hours, but it's like 8 bands and like full sets from each of the bands and stuff. So it's pretty cool. And what else? Oh, I put up there's a video from my band, the Convulsionaires. It's just one song. It's actually from a while back, but it's us doing a Modern Lovers cover. She's Cracked by the Modern Lovers. With Extevion singing. It's one of the 2 songs Extevion sings. He sings our Bowie cover, Breaking Glass, and then he sings this one too, and it's just freaking fantastic Modern Lovers cover. And Steven is just such a great vocalist. But so that's up. And then lastly, I was on A-Bear, our good friend A-Bear.
Right.
He asked me to come on a East Coast podcast with him and another comrade, John Carrico, who's I think I mentioned him earlier tonight, actually. John Carrico, he's an anarchist, IWW member who does a hell of a lot of like frontline shit with doxing the alt-right. He's heavily doxed himself. He was on the street in Charlottesville, dude. His partner, his lady, took a real heavy beating, got her skull cracked open and stuff, and he was one of the people locking arms and creating that defensive line that protected the churches,
right?
That we heard about.
Yeah.
And so there's so me, John Carrico, A-Bear, and the 2 guys from the Election Boycott Advocates talked for about an hour, and the structure of the conversation is around the recent statements by Chris Hedges and Noam Chomsky, and our kind of critique of those, what I feel, and we all universally agreed, was very, very disconnected and even dangerous statements issued by them. I say disconnected because Noam Chomsky and Chris Hedges don't march in the street with Antifa. They don't have any type of firsthand understanding of what motivates them and who they are. And when you have marched and you have stood with them, you have a great appreciation for them, because you know that they're a massive reason why you're safe marching down that street, man. And so that's just a really, really awesome video. That's up. And what I did is I didn't put the whole Election Boycott Advocate show because it's like a 2-hour podcast. I just took out the 1-hour segment with us on it, and that's up. And it's us kind of comparing notes about Berkeley and Charlottesville and the aftermath of it. So that's really bitchin'. So take a look at that. And I think that kind of covers all the stuff that we have up, bro.
Yeah, I think it does.
Cool, man. So anyway, this was a good show, and it's going to take me a little bit to edit all this together.
Yeah, this is going to be a 2-hour podcast.
Yeah. Well, normally our weekly What the Fucks reports, we try to keep it real simple, just me and Mike talking with, very little imagery, but so much has gone down, and we've been so busy, and we haven't done one in a while. We really want to kind of make this one a little more elaborate and get everybody kind of caught up, and we'll get back in the schedule of doing these every week. So sorry to everybody that we haven't done this in a while, but hey, that's what happens, when you we don't get paid to do this stupid ass janky podcast. So
Yeah, well, hit up. What is it? Empire? Not Empire. It's tattoo shop in Reno.
oh yeah, Evolution Tattoo,
Evolution. Head up Evolution.
Yeah, what's up to
Tattoo in
Evolution
Reno.
Tattoo? And then we do have another sponsor coming on, and we're going to keep sponsors,
Wait a
probably
minute.
just these two. But one of them is it's Pocket Monkey Vintage Clothing in the North Bay, and dude, awesome shop, bro. He gets me all kinds of he goes out to all the freaking trade shows and all this stuff for clothing, and he'll find me the coolest Ben Shermans and Fred Perrys and shit, and he gets them for me awesome cheap ass prices, and so he's great, and we're going to start running ads for him. And it's just, how often do you know of a men's vintage clothing store? You know what I mean? Where a guy's really he gets where we're coming from with like I said, with Ben Sherman and Fred Perry, Doc Martin, all that kind of stuff. He knows his shit, and he'll go fucking find it for you. He's awesome.
And aren't we working with somebody now too? Isn't there somebody you're working with?
So there's been a lot of photos that you've seen throughout this show tonight. Those really fantastic photos. That's by our very, very good friend Larry Rosa, and fantastic photographer. And I just met him at demonstrations and shit, and we just started realizing hey, the first time I met him, dude, we were at one of these alt-right Nazi rallies, and we just kind of both sat down on the same wall next to each other and just kind of started shooting the shit. And he's just a really good dude. And then we just started recognizing each other at other demonstrations. And it turns out he's just a fucking great photographer. And so we're going to start working with him. So because he's in the Bay Area, and that's where I organize a lot, we're going to hit each other up ahead of time for stuff and coordinate. And so we can bring you kind of broader coverage of some of these things, especially if, we got one guy off on one side taking the amazing photos that he does, and I can get video and stuff. So it's really, really awesome. And what is up, Larry, dude? It's so fucking awesome to have you on board with us and willing to work with us, dude. And your photos are just fantastic, as everyone has seen. So thanks a lot to Larry. And thank you for reminding me, Mike. I totally almost forgot. Yeah, thank you. What's up, Larry? Welcome to Punks for Progress, partner.
Well, I think with that, we'll call it a show.
Fuck yeah. I love you, bro.
I love you too.
Oh, well, hey, make sure to subscribe to our channel on YouTube. Make sure to like and share our stuff on Facebook. Make sure to call Mike names on our Twitter, which is Punks the number 4 Progress.
Yep, you can always tweet me at Mike_Punker. You can catch me at Mike_Punker on Instagram. I post our stuff up there too.
Yeah.
So, because I haven't figured out how to make a Punks for Progress Instagram yet, but oh well.
Right on.
All right, man.
I love you, bro.
I love you too, man. Peace out, guys.